Alright guys, part 2 of misconceptions of motion gaming. And here I'm gonna get more into the Wii and the PlayStation Move because they have similar control structures, and there are a lot of things about these controls that a lot of people just don't get yet. The first thing about the Wii mode that I would like to clear up is you do not need to do a bunch of crazy things to play it. You just don't. Like, stop saying that. It's freaking annoying. Every time I hear somebody refer to the Wii, they're like, oh my god, to play COD, all you have to do is waggle and you win the game. No, you don't. Okay? You actually have to put a lot of strategy in. You just don't go in there and just waggle and, oh my god, I'm killing everybody. It just doesn't happen. Okay? Especially in a game like Red Steel 2, you can try to waggle all you want to. Kill him, kill him, kill him, and it's not going to happen. The only thing you're going to be doing is blocking all your things like that. Okay? It takes strategy to play a motion game. Way more strategy than it takes to play a dual analog game. Because you have more stuff to work with. You have to deal with more dynamic factors. Like when you're playing Red Steel 2, the swords, they can block everything you do. So just imagine doing with a dual analog. All you're doing is pressing this button, but this button isn't going to give you the kind of precision or the different angles you can with a motion control. Because a game like Afro Samurai pretty much proves that. In order to do precision cuts, you had to toggle the cut. They have this angle that they have to toggle to cut a certain thing. That took people a long time to do. It took way too long. So imagine trying to do that in a game like Red Steel 2 with a dual analog controller. It'll be a complete failure because everybody will be spending 90% of their time trying to do precision cuts with a freaking dual analog controller. It's not going to work. So, when it comes to the Wii, it's all about precision, not waggle. It does not require you to use excessive amounts of movement to play. You don't need that. So stop saying that. It's annoying. And if you still think that means you just have not been playing any kind of Wii games since like the first 2 years, because that's all they really knew how to do at that time. And like I said in my last video, you cannot expect motion games to be perfect the first couple years. Even now, you can't expect them to be perfect. You know how long it took for us to get dual analog to be the way it is? It took a long time, and the only reason why it got where it is now is because it's the only controller we had to go off on, which means it had more time. It's like, I don't see how you expect something that just came out to be better than something that's been around for years. They don't know how to use this stuff yet. Like, they only know how to do a couple things. First person shooters on the Wii took a while to get good. First person shooters got good on the Wii on like when Modern Warfare Reflex came out. That's when it started to get really good. Reflex, then you got GoldenEye, then the Conduit. These are a work in process, man. You can't expect them to be automatically better than dual analog with only like 5 years worth of stuff. Plus, the way the Wii mode was designed, it was designed for flexibility. Like, it's like the most versatile controller you have. You can play classic games, you can play racing games, you can do all kinds of stuff with the Wii mode. And with that brings more versatile gameplay. You don't have to just stick to doing this all day. Man, so many misconceptions with Wii is not even funny. Now, another misconception is the whole idea of between the Wiimote and PlayStation Move, which one's more accurate. And the way, like, actually, I wouldn't call it more of a misconception. I just think of it as a pointless argument, because no matter what, they both have the same abilities. Like, there's really not a lot of things that are really better, because what, sure, the PlayStation Move might have more tech, but that doesn't translate to better gameplay or more accuracy. Because one thing I've heard, now, I don't know if it's due to bad calibration or anything, but I've heard that it lags. Not a massive lag, but it does have lag. And from my experience on the Wii, I experienced no lag. But like I said, this is just what I heard. I haven't played it, so I can't really say that it's due to this or that. But I'm saying what I've heard. I don't know if it's like calibration or not, but I heard that it lags. So do with that what you will. But as far as I've seen, the PlayStation Move and the Wii Motion Plus are equal. Alright, they're right on par with each other. The only advantage that the Wiimote has over the PlayStation Move is time. The Wiimote has more time and more original IPs than the PlayStation Move. And I don't know why Sony doesn't have any original IPs out for the movie yet, but they really should stop sleeping on it, because their move sales suck. And that's just fact. They have one game that's coming out this November, and it looks really good. The problem that they have with it though is that it's on rails. And there's no excuse to have a game like that on rails, especially with Skyward Sword coming out, proving you can do all that stuff that you're doing on there with a navigation controller, is what they call it. There's absolutely no excuse for that. Secondly, they have another game that's coming out that they presented last year called The Sorcerer, and we still have yet to see anything new about it. The only thing you saw was just them doing some gameplay, and that's it. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you could do all this stuff on it, and you're bragging about how much better it is, but you have 0 games showing how much better it actually is. Because so far, everything that they've shown with the PlayStation Move, I've already seen and played on the Wii. One thing about motion controls that I thought wouldn't happen, that actually did happen, was PC gamers getting their own motion controls. And you guys like, what? PC has a motion control? And I'm like, yes. It's called the Hydra controller. They use magnet technology. Okay, as long as it works, and it does work. It's just my only gripe with them that once again they're trying to say that it's better than the Wiimote. I'm like, and the thing that it has, that I think a lot of people who are used to dual analog controllers, that they would like, when it comes to the Hydra controller, is that it has an analog control on the main controller. I'm like, I guess that's cool, but but however, it still gives you the ability to aim, with the controller. It also gives you the option of using it like that. One thing that also kind of bothers me is the common belief that most controls can't do certain things. And I think, at this point in the Wii's catalog, especially with Zelda coming out, I think if you're going to say that, you should really wait until, Skyward Sword before you say the Wii can't do anything else. I mean, the Wiimote can't do anything else, because, like I said, obviously there is enough games to prove that it can do everything that the dual analog can. And I think that's the first step of motion controllers. I think that's what it should prove first. I think the first thing it should prove is that it can do everything that dual analog can do. and I think it's already done that. You know, like it can play and enhance adventure games. You know, platformers. It's already done that. You know, like let's face it, all the Mario, you know, games that's came out for us, more than proved it. Epic Mickey, you know, like I really shouldn't have to go any further than that. I think to a certain extent, the Wiimote will be used, but will it be supported? I think there's a difference between that. Like just because you're using the Wiimote doesn't mean you're actually really doing what the Wiimote can do. Because like, you know, there are plenty of games that are, you know, on the Wii that have already proven that the Wii can do more than the dual analog can do. And just to end motion controls this generation, I think will be stupid. Now, you know, just for gaming in general, because just imagine going 5 more generations, you know, with just the controls we've been using. Eventually, you know, we are going to be asking for something new, something different. You know, better graphics and more, you know, and all that stuff is not going to be the future of games. It's just not. If you're thinking that, you know, future generations, you know, it's going to be, you know, you probably won't even need a controller. The only way that can happen is if we start now. Like, you just can't expect to be able to just pick up a game automatically and not run into a learning curve. And I think that's one of the main reasons why most controls aren't big now. It's because these guys are so used to dual analog, and they're afraid of change. They're afraid of no longer being the king of the hill. Because there's a lot of people, you know, Call of Duty, for example. There's a lot of people who are like hardcore Call of Duty, you know, guys. You know what I mean? This number got like 5, you know, .00 kill death ratio. These guys are awesome and stuff like that. Doing 360 no scopes and stuff like that. And they're like, yo, I don't want to go to a new control scheme where I suck again. Like I said before, player preference. You know, that should be the future. That should be the main thing for the next generation. You know, how do you like to play? You like to play with dual analog? That's fine. I like to play with this controller. That's fine. You know, and I think developers should support it, because it's not like they don't know how to use dual analog. I'm pretty sure button mapping is not even a science anymore. Anyway, to end this whole entire, you know, misconception of motion gaming thing that I'm doing here, I'm just end it with one thing. How much longer do you want to play with the same controls, the same gameplay, the same story, and everything? How much longer do you think you personally can take the only thing being added or anything to a game is being the graphics, the power, online capabilities, and just that, and just some other extra stuff added to your console? Exactly how long do you think you can actually keep playing games like that? How long do you think the gaming industry itself can last